What's going on? Tyson McGuffin here, and I'm here to talk about a special journey that I went on in Kentucky with my therapist and mental coach, Ben Askins. I've been working with Ben now, and I've been working with the Wild Health team for about the last year and a half. They do all these extensive lab testing for me, and they have a wide range of different resources there. But Ben has been my therapist now for the last year and a half, kind of dumped everything on him. And something that my fans and the people may not know is that I feel like this is the most successful. This is like the best part of my life with parenting, getting to do something that I love, married to a beautiful person. And it just seems like, everything is going right. But I've been dealing with some mental health over the last couple of years and kind of felt like I was heading down the right path, very successful, with my businesses, doing content as an athlete. Met a ton of great people in the sport of pickleball as well, and family life has been a total blessing. But there was just an inner hole that just kind of kept getting bigger and bigger as time went on. I've always been one to really not, share my story, and I've always kind of put the wall up. I just felt like I had a hard time loving others because simply I didn't love myself. I had some stuff take place to me as a kid. Didn't really understand my parents all that well, even though they were very loving and great people. And just kind of wanted to get some clarity on myself, what was going on. Obviously, like with any business person or athlete out there, they're always looking to find a better version of themselves. So I decided to go on this psychedelic journey with my therapist, who is a licensed psychedelic assisted therapist. So the day before that I left for my journey, driving our brand new Cadillac, I was in a car wreck. And honestly, it was the first time in the last probably decade that I was in a car wreck. Scared the heck out of me. That very next day, flew to Kentucky, told Ben about it. And Ben told me, he's like, hey, there's the first sign. And I asked him, I'm like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, bro, I've gotten to know you now for the last year and a half, and you were all gas, no brakes, zero moderation in life. And thinking about my wreck and thinking about just what transpired, it all just made a lot of sense. Pretty cool. We did a 3-day journey. Each night we kind of would do some talk therapy and kind of talk through the day. Each night we would do this little sweat session where he would put us in a sauna and we'd crank that thing up to like 200 degrees. And it was all very cleansing. Usually after the day and after the sauna sweat, I was in bed and passed out by like 9 p.m. It was a very long, exhausting day, very emotional as well. But if there was a couple of key factors that I really wanted to know going in, or I guess I wanted to conquer, was I just wanted to be more in tune with myself. I wanted to be less surface-like. I wanted to kind of get to know the person inside. I wanted to be more thoughtful. I think with that came some ego, came some selfishness. And I wanted to find a better version of myself. I wanted to have some better clarity of my mom and my dad, and just kind of understanding their roots as well. Something that I was never around as a kid was my parents were not very religious. So I was kind of dealing with some anxiety as an athlete, traveling around, managing 4 kids, being married to my wife, who I know now is my true hero, even though I knew it this whole time. I think I was just too selfish and too stubborn to realize, if you know what I mean. But I wanted to like open up my lens, lower the ego. Just believe in something that is more powerful than myself. And I've always like tiptoed around going to church and stuff like that, but I never really truly understood like the full meaning of it. My wife grew up in a family that believed in Christ and that was Christian. She would always kind of push me onto church, but I kind of did my own thing. And anyhow, so I was just looking to be more in tune with myself, trust something bigger than me. Something that I found out along my journey is that my dad told me that he wants me to be the person that he never was. And I think that's what I was kind of looking for this whole time, was to be the true man in the family. So day one, had way too many expectations going in. I had a ton of anxiety going in as well. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I felt very safe over the course of the 3 days. Ben made sure, and by asking me if I felt safe, and I felt more than safe. I felt more than safe in that environment that I was in. I felt like I was very comfortable. I think it definitely helped that I got to work with Ben over a year and a half as well, and basically just dump on all my trauma and all the toxic stuff and just anything that I've gone through. So Ben has a very good understanding of me. First and foremost, I was able to speak to my dad. That day was super emotional. And the image that I got of my dad was pretty cool. It was a very young version of my dad. He had a Jerry curl. He had his mustache going on. He had a Tommy Bahama shirt on, and he looked clean cut, if you know what I mean. And basically, one of the things that my dad had mentioned was he wants me to be a better version than him, and he wants me to be more loving than him. And along that same journey, I just got a lot of good clarity of my dad. I kind of figured out who he really was. It actually took me back to his childhood, took me back to his roots, just so I really had a good understanding of how he grew up. And my dad was adopted. His parents kind of let their foot off the gas a little bit. My dad kind of ran wild as a kid, and there wasn't a whole lot of discipline there. And he just kind of coasted through life. And so I think why the way my dad was truly because of his upbringing. Yeah, I mean, to have some understanding with that and just to have a general idea on how my dad grew up was super inspiring to me. And it deep down helped me love him better. Also, I got to talk to my mom as well. And my mom and I have always been very close, love her dearly. Yeah, it seems like we've bumped heads a little bit. And even though we have a great relationship, it's not always been super smooth, if you know what I mean. So kind of similar to my dad's story, it took me back to my mom's childhood. I got a good sense of, she had one sister and two brothers. And she had a mom who I love my grandma dearly. But back in the day, my grandma was pretty tough on my mom. And I don't think my mom was loved all that much. That right there told a pretty good story about how my mom is today. And even though my mom is loving, yeah, it just like that totally connected. Like, you're a product of your environment and how you were raised and in your upbringing. It doesn't always tell the same story when you get older, but it tells a pretty good story. Yeah, so I was able to get some good insight about how my parents grew up, which really helped me connect with them better, which helped me love them better and get a better sense of myself and how I was brought up. Also, along that journey, you know, just any toxic thing I've done in my life, any trauma that I've dealt with, it basically it was funny how it always takes you back from the start. It always takes you back to your childhood. So things that took place to me are things that took place with me in my childhood. I kind of, had to go through each little scene or each little scenario, and I had to meet it face to face and basically just come to terms with what transpired. And in order for me to flip the page and to move chapters, yeah, I just had to understand it. I had to find some clarity with it. And I felt like once I was able to do that and I was comfortable there, then I could move on. I felt like I was super refreshed and found a better version of myself just by seeing all these scenarios that I've kind of dealt with that has haunted me for a very long time. And I think some of the mental health stuff has come with not understanding my parents and some of the stuff that took place with me as a kid and some of the things that I've done to key, very important people in my life. Yeah, it was very emotional, but I think being able to say sorry, being able to just get a better understanding of all this stuff really helped me take a look inside, and it opened me up, helped me be less surface-like, and just love the man that I am, because I felt like I was kind of fighting that for the longest time, and my inner gut just didn't want me to dive in. So being in this dream state, I think, something that was truly powerful is that in order for me to love myself and to love others better and to have less anxiety and to put my ego on the ground, and the whole theme that resonated with me was serve over power. In order for me to do that, I have to trust God. And it's very new, but over the last couple months, I've really been diving into just being a better follower to God, trying to live through his eyes. Yeah, just be the right role model for my kids, introduce them to the church. And I truly feel like I have less anxiety, and I'm trusting something that is much bigger than me. And I feel like as long as I do everything right, he will lead me down the right path, and he will always make it okay. Another big factor that I kind of saw in this dream state was seeing this beautiful image of my wife, and know that like all this stuff was very realistic. When I saw my dad, he was like in his 20s. When I saw my mom, she was a much younger version as well. And then when I saw my wife, she looked lovely. Something that we discussed and something that I just kind of realized was that she's been my true hero this whole time. I've just been a little too stubborn and a little too surface-like. And there's so many good qualities in her that I've always wanted to have, but I always just turned the other direction and did things my way. It all just makes a lot of sense now, because I've been wanting all these qualities, and I've been wanting to reach out to God, and I've been wanting more clarity about my parents. I don't know, something that was just really interesting is that there's so many people out there that are taking pharmaceutical drugs or seeing a doctor and getting a prescription for some type of medication. I've never wanted to go that route. And I think it's just really powerful what you can do with psychedelics. And unlike prescription drugs, psychedelics can be a 1-day journey, it can be a 2-day journey, or you can make it a 3-day journey. But they say that a psychedelic journey is equivalent to like 10 years of talk therapy. And I truly felt that. I've been working with Ben for a year and a half, and obviously we've grown close, and it's done a lot for me. It's done a lot for my soul. It's definitely helped me love myself. But what I got out of those 3 days, I would pay any amount for that. I don't know, something that I experienced afterwards when I came out of it was like everything just made sense, and it just kept beating me in the face time and time again. Everything was in front of me, but I had like closed my eyes, or I was just too stubborn to like see it and really take it on. I don't know, just taking on, I'm not going to call it a challenge, but taking on this journey and the expectations I had going in, and like some of the anxiety. I'm so glad and thankful and blessed that I went down that road, because I think like the man that I am today, some of the changes that my family has seen, some of the changes that my team has seen is night and day from the old version of me. I encourage anybody out there that's dealing with mental health, anything trauma related or PTSD, make sure you check out Ben Askins. You can take a look at the link below, or if you're afraid to make that step, maybe you've never tried psychedelics, or you don't want to quite dive into that space yet, that is totally fine. Check out this book. It's called Anti-Hero's Journey. It talks all about Ben's story, his whole view on life. Antiheroesjourney.com, Ben Askins.